Hi everyone, my name is Gautam Gupta and I want to welcome you all to my YouTube channel, Universal Fundamentals. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Venus's special transit into the sign of Pisces that's coming up for this year, 2025, and how it will affect you personally based on your ascendant and or moon sign. Venus will initially enter the sign of Pisces, which is its exaltation sign, on January 27th of 2025, and it's going to remain in the sign of Pisces until May 30th of 2025, which is going to be for about 4 months. Now, the reason why this is going to be such a special transit is because Venus normally stays in one sign for about a month. But this year, Venus will be turning retrograde. And whenever transiting Venus turns retrograde, it stays retrograde for about 6 weeks. And right before it turns retrograde and right after it turns direct, Venus tends to move a bit slower than usual. So that's why Venus will take a lot longer to go through one sign when it turns retrograde via transit. Now, something significant I want to discuss is that Venus is going to be conjunct with Rahu the entire time. Then, starting in the month of March, transiting Mercury will also join Venus and Rahu, and by the end of March, transiting Saturn will also join this conjunction along with the new moon on March 29th, which is also the same day as the solar eclipse since the new moon is conjunct Rahu. Now, another important thing about this is that Venus will turn retrograde on March 1st of 2025 at around 16 degrees of Pisces, and it's going to turn direct on April 12th of 2025 at around 0 degrees of Pisces. And a very important aspect about this retrograde transit is that when Venus turns retrograde, it will behave like a debilitated planet. But the good news is that Venus and Jupiter will be forming a mutual exchange with one another. And what I mean by this is that Venus will be in Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is going to be in the sign of Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. So this is going to provide a lot of protection for Venus while it is retrograde. So as you can see, a lot is going to happen with Venus being in Pisces this year. And it is going to be important to be prepared for the ups and downs that come your way so that you're better ready to navigate any challenges and come out on the winning end. Now, another component I want to discuss about this Venus retrograde in Pisces is that Venus turns retrograde on the same sign every 8 years. So in this case, for example, the last time Venus was in Pisces and turned retrograde was in the year 2017. And during the year 2017, Venus transited the sign of Pisces from January 27th of 2017 until May 30th of 2017, which coincidentally are the exact dates Venus will transit in the sign of Pisces for the year 2025. Now, the only difference is that Venus in the year of 2017 turned retrograde on March 4th at around 19 degrees of Pisces and turned direct on April 15th at around 3 degrees of Pisces. So every 8 years, Venus will turn retrograde 3 degrees backwards from its previous retrograde motion. So this means that the next time Venus will turn retrograde in the year 2033, it will initially retrograde in Pisces, but will turn direct in the sign of Aquarius due to its degrees. Now, for the Venus retrograde in 2025, I want you to recollect the events that occurred from January 27th of 2017 through May 30th, 2017, because these are the same events that will mirror the experiences you're going to have for the year 2025. Now, a couple of general tips that I have for navigating this retrograde portion of the Venus in Pisces transit are the following. Now, this transit is going to motivate you to focus on reflecting emotional connections in your personal relationships, as well as things that inspire you artistically. This will give you many opportunities to heal any past wounds in your relationships, specifically from the year 2017, which was when Venus was last retrograde in the sign of Pisces. And this will invite an introspection on your personal growth, and it's going to give you a sense of personal appreciation, how past experiences shape the present. And just remember that each experience, whether good or bad, gives opportunities for growth and ultimate prosperity. So just realize that once Venus turns direct on April 12th, you will have a greater sense of appreciation for the relationships that truly matter in life. There can also be some temporary setbacks financially, so don't spend your money aggressively while Venus is retrograde. This is also not the best time to spend anything on luxury items, as there can be some issues and setbacks. Now, by the time Venus turns direct, you will have a complete reimagination of what love, devotion, creativity, and financial prosperity mean to you. And this is going to feel so freeing and liberating. Now, I'm going to start giving you my personal predictions as to how Venus's special transit in Pisces will affect each ascendant and or moon sign. But before I do want to invite everyone to please check out my website, universal-fundamentals.com, where you can learn more about me and what I do as a Vedic astrologer. You can also check out the various services that I offer, and I will be leaving links down below so you all can check that out in more detail. I also want to remind everyone that I do practice sidereal Vedic astrology and not Western tropical astrology. So with that being said, I will now begin giving you my predictions for how Venus's special transit in Pisces for the year 2025 will affect each ascendant and or moon sign. So if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Aries, then this means that transiting Venus will be exalted in your 12th house of Pisces from January 27th, 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange of transiting Jupiter, which is in your second house of Taurus, up until May 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your 12th house, this will actually enhance your financial situation. And this is because Venus is the only planet that prospers in the 12th house. And on top of that, it is at its exaltation position. You may have several opportunities to do foreign traveling during the early part of 2025. And while you are traveling, you may even become exposed to a lot of spiritual knowledge that can help you grow as a person. This is also an amazing transit for getting sound sleep at night. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 1st through April 12th. And this will be a transit where you have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful with your expenses and foreign travel plans at this time. Whenever an exalted planet turns retrograde, it will start behaving like a debilitated planet. So there are going to be some issues concerning your 12th house matters. Also, things from your past will come under scrutiny, especially when it comes to your past relationships. And you will have to do a lot of self-reflection in order to heal some of these emotions and experiences. But the good news is that once you do, it will open the door for more opportunities in your future relationships. Now, if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Taurus, then this means that Venus will be exalted in your 11th house of Pisces from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your first house of Taurus up until May 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your 11th house, this will actually enhance your financial situation. You will have several opportunities to connect with your social network circles. So if you have any parties that you're invited to, then don't hold back. Try to attend as many social events as possible, as you will meet many influential people that can really elevate your life to a whole new level. This is also a great opportunity to connect with friends and older siblings in a more fun and carefree manner. Now, one thing you do have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 1st of 2025 until April 12th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you will have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful when it comes to your interactions with the people in your social network circles, friends, and or older siblings. There can be some unresolved past issues that pop up, and it will be important to tactfully address these issues if you want to maintain good standing with these people. Also, while attending social events when Venus is retrograde, please be careful with your interactions with people, especially influential people, as there are chances of your actions being misinterpreted. Try to lay low in your social circles if possible while Venus is retrograde, and only take bold and appropriate action when Venus becomes direct in your 11th house of Pisces. Now, if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Gemini, then this means that Venus will be exalted in your 10th house of Pisces from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your 12th house of Taurus up until May 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your 10th house, this will really help elevate your career to a whole new level. You will find yourself getting along extremely well with the people you are working with. You will find a sense of harmony, cooperation, and to a certain extent, even some devotion coming from the people you work with, including your bosses. This is also great for your social standing and reputation. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 1st of 2025 until April 12th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful with the way you come across to other people within the workplace, and this especially applies to any female coworkers or bosses that you work with. Please be aware that there can be a lot of conflicts arising during this Venus retrograde, and some of these situations may be beyond your control. So it will be extremely important to focus on the areas you can control and let go of the areas that are beyond your control. So please refrain from getting into any major arguments or fights while Venus is retrograde because things will most likely not work out in your favor. However, once Venus turns direct, things will start improving and getting back to normal. So keep all of this in mind as you navigate this extremely long Venus in Pisces transit for the year 2025. Now, if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Cancer, then this means that Venus will be exalted in your ninth house of Pisces from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your 11th house of Taurus up until May 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your ninth house, this will actually enhance your financial situation even more. The ninth and 11th houses are extremely vital for financial luck and prosperity. And I think you're going to be extremely lucky financially while Venus is direct and forming a mutual exchange with Jupiter between your ninth and 11th houses. This is also an excellent transit for connecting with your father and teachers. And any higher education projects or courses that you're working on during this transit will turn out very well and in your favor. This is also great for learning and obtaining spiritual knowledge as well as traveling long distance. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 1st of 2025 until April 12th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful when it comes to interacting with your father, teachers, friends, older siblings, and social network circles. There can be some disagreements which can cause some temporary discord within your dynamics. So it will be important to approach difficult conversations very carefully. You may also run into some temporary obstacles if you're traveling long distance while Venus is retrograde. So make sure you account for this in your itinerary and schedules. And if possible, try to avoid long distance traveling while Venus is retrograde. Now, good news is that once Venus does turn direct after April 12th, you will be able to resolve conflicts with your father, teachers, or your social network circles a lot easier. And long distance traveling will also become a lot easier once Venus turns direct. Now, if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Leo, then this means that Venus will be exalted in your eighth house of Pisces from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your 10th house of Taurus, up until May 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your eighth house, this will give you several opportunities to engage in research projects regarding topics that are of great interest to you. And this can even be related to your career, since Venus's dispositor Jupiter is in your 10th house and it's forming a mutual exchange. You may even become involved in studying metaphysical or occult sciences, where you start getting to the core and bottom of things. I also see financial matters improving while Venus is exalted and direct in your eighth house, and you could be receiving some unearned wealth this time. Or if you are married, then it is quite possible that your joint assets will do very well this time. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 1st, 2025 until April 12th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful with your financial matters, especially when it comes to your joint assets or unearned wealth. Please refrain from taking any major risks regarding your joint assets or unearned wealth. And please be careful concerning any scandals within your workplace, and in particular, scandals related to females. Please continue to remain your professionalism and stay calm throughout this Venus retrograde transit. But the good news is that once Venus does become direct after April 12th of 2025, you will be able to easily resolve any of these conflicts that come your way. Now, if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Virgo, then this means that transiting Venus will be exalted in your seventh house of Pisces from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your ninth house of Taurus up until May 14th, 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your seventh house, this will actually enhance your relationships. You will find yourself getting along extremely well with either your business partners and or significant other. There will be a sense of mutual cooperation, understanding, and respect while Venus is direct. You may even find a sense of love and devotion coming from your significant other. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is that Venus will be retrograde from March 1st of 2025 until April 12th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful when it comes to your relationships with business partners and or significant others. There could be some misunderstandings and conflicts that arise due to Venus being retrograde in your seventh house. Remember, when an exalted planet turns retrograde, it starts to behave like a debilitated planet. So Venus will not be operating at its best at that time. So please be extremely careful with the types of discussions and conversations that you have with your business partners and or significant others. Now, the good news is that once Venus turns direct after April 12th, both parties should be able to resolve any outstanding conflicts quickly and nicely. Now, if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Libra, then this means that Venus will be exalted in your sixth house of Pisces from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your eighth house of Taurus up until May 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your sixth house, this will help foster harmony and cooperation with your coworkers and or employees. You will find yourself getting along with them quite well and peacefully, and this will allow you to get things done. You will also find smooth sailing when it comes to navigating your daily routines as well. Now, one thing you do have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 1st of 2025 until April 12th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you will have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful when it comes to interacting with your coworkers and or employees. There can be some temporary misunderstandings if not properly addressed, and this can cause some friction and tension. So it will be important to foster and maintain open communication at this time. I also see temporary disruptions in your daily routine while Venus is retrograde. But the good news is that once Venus turns direct after April 12th, you will be able to easily resolve any outstanding conflicts and move forward in a very peaceful manner. Now, if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Scorpio, then this means that Venus will be exalted in your fifth house of Pisces from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your seventh house of Taurus up until May 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your fifth house, this will actually enhance your financial situation, and in particular, when it comes to your speculative gains. This is also a great transit for casual dating and pursuing a romantic encounter with someone that you are attracted to if you're single. Just make sure you stay within boundaries and respect the relationship. I also think you'll be more creative and innovative while Venus is direct and exalted in your fifth house of Pisces. Now, one thing you do have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 1st of 2025 until April 12th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful with how you interact with the people you are dating. Make sure your intentions are clear and that you remain in your best behavior because any inappropriate action that you take in these relationships can backfire on you. And this is because whenever an exalted planet turns retrograde, it will behave like a debilitated planet. This means that Venus will not be operating at its best dignity. Also, while Venus is retrograde, please refrain from making any risky moves when it comes to your investments. Try to keep your life as simple as possible. Now, the good news is that once Venus turns direct after April 12th, you will be able to nicely move forward with your creativity, innovation, dating life, and speculative investments. So keep all this in mind as you navigate the Venus and Pisces transit for 2025. Now, if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Sagittarius, then this means that Venus is going to be exalted in your fourth house of Pisces from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your sixth house of Taurus up until May 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your fourth house, this will actually cause some temporary conflicts between your mother, real estate issues, domestic life, vehicles, coworkers, and or employees. And this is because the exchange between the fourth lord and the sixth lord isn't usually the best energy. So you do have to be careful when it comes to navigating these dynamics. So try not to make any major decisions regarding your home, mother, or the dynamics between you, your coworkers, and or employees. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 1st of 2025 until April 12th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful with your interactions with your mother, coworkers, and or employees. And any conflicts that you try to initiate will escalate and end up backfiring on you. So it is important to be careful with your interactions. Compromise will be the key to making the most out of this transit. Now, if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Capricorn, then this means that transiting Venus will be exalted in your third house of Pisces from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your fifth house of Taurus up until May 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your third house, this will actually open up opportunities to really develop your creative talents. This will be an excellent opportunity to connect with younger siblings and or neighbors in a very casual and fun way. This will allow you guys to get to know each other even better. This is also a great opportunity to travel short distance, and it is also a great opportunity to take some chances and risks when it comes to your speculative investments. This is also a great time to even start writing a book or work on short stories, articles, and or social media projects since the third and fifth lords are in exchange with one another. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 1st of 2025 until April 12th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful with your communication and especially how you interact with your neighbors, younger siblings, and or even children. There can be some disagreements that arise if you're not careful with the way you communicate. So it will be important to watch what you say and more importantly, how you say it. Also, while Venus is retrograde, there can be some temporary delays and setbacks when working on any social media projects, books, short stories, and or articles. So it will be important to exercise patience while working on these projects. Also, just be mentally prepared for any delays in your short distance trips. Now, the good news is that once Venus turns direct after April 12th of 2025, things will move forward pretty quickly and nicely related to your third and fifth house matters. And you will be able to find closure and resolve any outstanding disagreements. Now, if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Aquarius, then this means that transiting Venus will be exalted in your second house of Pisces from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is exalted in the sign of Pisces, it's going to be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your fourth house of Taurus up until May 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your second house, this will actually enhance your financial situation. I see many opportunities for you to do well financially during this transit as there will be an increase in your bank balance. And I also see that you will be getting along with your family members quite beautifully throughout this transit. So if you plan on having any family gatherings while Venus is direct, then rest assured it will go extremely well. And this is especially the case if it's from your mother's side due to the fact that the second and fourth Lord houses are in exchange with each other. This is also a great opportunity for expansion within the home. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 1st of 2025 until April 12th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful with how you spend your money and how you interact with your family members. There can be some instances where your communication is misunderstood or misconstrued, so it will be important to speak clearly and with good intentions. Don't say anything you will regret later. And the good news is that once Venus turns direct after April 12th of 2025, things related to your money, finances, and family will continue to run smoothly. Now, if your ascendant or your moon sign is in Pisces, then this means that transiting Venus will be exalted in your first house of Pisces from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your third house of Taurus up until May 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your first house, this will give you an incredible sense of self-confidence. You will feel a lot more sociable and friendly towards other people, and this is going to allow you to build strong connections. You may even think about changing your wardrobe and physical appearance at this time, and with appropriate actions, this can help boost your overall look and demeanor. I also see that you'll be able to express yourself quite clearly and articulately, which can help address any needs that you have. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 1st of 2025 until April 12th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you have to exercise caution and care. You have to be extremely careful with how you express yourself to other people, as your communication style could be misunderstood. Also, while Venus is retrograde, please try to avoid making any drastic changes regarding your physical appearance. Try to wait until Venus turns direct before doing anything major. So, this is what I wanted to cover regarding how Venus's special transit in Pisces for the year 2025 will affect each ascendant and or moon sign. I hope you guys got something out of this. Once again, if you found this video to be useful, please give it a thumbs up by hitting the like button. Doing so will tremendously help me out with the YouTube algorithm so this video can reach a vast audience. Also, if you are new to my channel and would like to see similar videos like this in the future, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on that bell notification. And if you would like to know more about me and what I do as a Vedic astrologer, then please check out my website, universal-fundamentals.com. Thank you so much, everybody, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.